Want everybody out for my morning walk, as always. So I watched a video yesterday by Charlie Veitch. He was in Piccadilly Gardens, what he calls it, Cracky Gardens, in Manchester, and he videoed, I've got to say his skin colour for obvious reasons, a white man who was asleep on the grass with a can of lager at the side of him. Now the police went over to him and woke him up. They poured his alcohol out, which is probably what they're going to do, because it's probably one of those no alcohol zones type things. And all the man did, he wasn't shouting at the police at all. All he did was say, "Why are you waking me up?" And he wasn't doing anything, he wasn't hurting anybody, he was just asleep on the ground, not causing any menace or anything like that. And Charlie was giving a commentary saying, you know, "Oh mate, you should just shut up and, you know, you'll be walking home free." But my point is, that man had every right to question why the police are bothering him. Fair enough, tip away my alcohol. But the man was asking, you know, "Why have you woke me up? Why have you woke me up and why are you bothering me?" And it's because the man lying on the floor asleep, the white man lying on the floor asleep, is a much easier option for the police to arrest, because they did arrest him. They, you know, he swore a couple of times, and they took him to the floor violently with their knees in his arms. And quite rightly, he was questioning, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? And Charlie was saying, "Oh, you know, if you'd have just kept your mouth shut, they'd have just, you know, you'd have walked home free." But why should you keep your mouth shut? Why shouldn't you question the police when they're bothering you for doing absolutely nothing? Like I said, fair enough, pour the alcohol away. I don't think he was even arguing about the alcohol being poured away. He was saying, "Why are you picking on me? Why are you waking me up when I'm not doing anything to anybody?" I could have understood it if he was being rowdy, if he was bothering people in the park because he was drunk. But he wasn't. He was asleep. He was asleep on the floor. And my point was, only a few hundred feet away were all the crackheads, most likely taking drugs openly in public. Mixed variety of people, variety of different races. They chose to ignore them, and they went straight for the white English bloke laid out on the grass, asleep. Now you might want to know why I'm bringing this up, because I watched Liam Tuff's video. It's on my community post section of my channel. Go and watch it, it's very interesting. And he was talking to an ex-police officer who said they are afraid of being called racist, so they deliberately treat different demographics in our society different to the white indigenous population, because they want to keep their jobs, they don't want to lose their pensions. We already knew this already. We already knew this. We already knew there was two-tier policing, but we didn't need to be told this is what it was. But this just confirms everything, and it's institutionalized, this two-tier policing. Not only is it externally with the general public, the two-tier policing is also internally, because if they do go out and arrest people from a different demographic, and an accusation of racism gets made, then they're investigated. Like you said, they're on the other side of the table. They're the ones being questioned under caution by the police's internal affairs. So I'm kind of understanding why so many of the police are leaving. Lots of my friends who were in the police, who were ex-military, have gone, and he confirmed that as well. He said he was friends with quite a lot of the old school who were ex-military, who joined it straight from the armed forces. And he said they were just white knuckling it and just biding the time just to get out and get their pension. And they left. And some of the younger ones that I know have left because of all this woke mentality and the two-tier system within the police as well. And he confirmed the only way you can rise up the ranks in the police is if you follow the woke ideology, the woke agenda. He also confirmed that when they have to go to university now to get their degree, because you need a degree now to be in the police force, you need your criminology degree, that most of it isn't even about the law. It's just about indoctrinating the police into far left ideology. It's all about identity politics. It's all about gender identity and all that rubbish, which explains why a lot of these police officers now, when they're out on the street, don't even know the law. I watched a video by an auditor, DJ Audits, and he goes around all these industrial places, you know, just flying his drone over them. I'm not going to deny he's deliberately antagonistic, and a lot of these auditors are. I don't think they deny that themselves, just to get content. But they do raise some pretty interesting concerns and issues when they're doing this. Mainly that, you know, that they're saying that they can fly their drone over business because it's not private property, it is public airspace. And this is something that the owners of these businesses don't understand, and more importantly, it's something that the police don't even understand. And this is what I was talking about. They're not taught the law, they're not taught basic law. They don't understand, because if they were, they'd be able to go up to these businesses when they get called out on people like PJ Audits or DJ Audits, and they would say, no, I'm sorry, he's perfectly within his rights, he can fly his drone over here, he's not committing an offence. It's just common sense, because how can a business control the airspace above them? Do they have to divert helicopters and aeroplanes around their businesses because they control the airspace? Of course they don't. It's bloody stupid. It's just common sense. Well, that's sadly lacking in a lot of these new police officers now. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just put out onto the street and they don't know what they're talking about. A report came out about the state of the police force. A lot of them are being hired based on, you know, not on merit, not on their abilities, not on their capabilities, but on their characteristics like gender, race, sexuality. A lot of them are illiterate. They can't fill out proper reports. They don't speak proper English. How can you have people like that in the police force? It's just crazy. Like I said, on this occasion, I think Charlie Veitch got it very, very wrong on this occasion with his commentary. I think, you know, if you're being harassed by the police, you should question them. And if you're arrested, then you should comply with them. You shouldn't fight them. Just let them go through the process, and then once they've done it, sue them. Because if everybody sued them for a wrongful arrest, there would soon be a policy change, because they have to keep paying out. And let's not forget, right, it's not, the police doesn't have any money. Where's all this compensation money come from? Us, the taxpayer. When they mess up, we pay out. So we should be demanding higher standards and better training for our police, and a total repeal of all this nonsense, this DEI nonsense bullshit, all this identity politics, all this wokery should be purged from the police force. And it's not just the police force now, it's also within the army. Tim Davis was talking about it. He said there was a squadron called the Crusaders. Now, some woke RAF boss changed the name because he thought it might be offensive to certain demographics. This squadron's been going around since World War II. This is the insanity that we have to deal with in this country. Like I said, our culture, our heritage is eroded away by these idiots that are put in power. It's just crazy. And I've covered all that, right. So let's get on to another subject. So when I was on that march, protest, whatever you call it, the Marxist, pro-Palestine protest, parade, march, gala, whatever you call it, I was getting called a fascist, the usual things, Nazi, and all that kind of stuff. And this is straight out of the playbook of the communists. They were taught to do this. The dissidents that were in America were taught, if you get questioned about what you're trying to do, because they infiltrated institutions way back in the 1950s, and they were told that if you start getting questioned about what you're doing, just label your opposition as fascist. Just keep calling them fascist or racist. And that has carried on. Because let's not forget, right, these people aren't rational. These people aren't rational thinking people. They're like in a cult. They're in a cult. They can't accept anything outside of their ideology. The whole life is their ideology. And I've had a look at some of their Facebook pages because obviously I've been doing my research on these people. And it's all about communism, it's all about socialism. You know, they make accusations about me being a fascist or a Nazi, all that kind of stuff, yet there's no evidence of it anywhere. Because it's not true. Yet they use the label. It's just to purely smear people, to shut them down. That's what they do it for. And yet, they are communists. They plaster it all over their placards. The socialist worker. They're proudly members of the British Communist Party of Britain. They advertise it. And yet this is an ideology that has, like I keep saying, that has killed 90 million people worldwide. This is an ideology that put people in gulags. Disappeared people. If you went up against the state and you criticised the state, you were disappeared. The KGB would come round, the secret police, and you would be disappeared. You'd be put in a gulag, which is basically a concentration camp. And these people think they have the moral high ground on anything. That it's just pure delusion on their part. Absolute pure delusion. And it's just National Socialism is just an offshoot of communism. They weren't in 1930s Germany, when we saw the rise of communism and National Socialism in Germany. They weren't fighting over what was moral. Like, oh no, we shouldn't be persecuting. The communists weren't saying, oh no, we shouldn't be persecuting people. You know, look at those bad guys over the Nazis. They want to persecute people. They're authoritarian. They weren't saying that at all. They're exactly the same as the Nazis. They're authoritarian. The National Socialists and the communists were fighting over power. They were fighting over which ideology would be dominant in Germany. Had nothing to do with morality at all. And so they can't take the moral high ground on anything. You know, all these young kids think that communism is this utopia because their teachers, their Marxist teachers, are teaching them that it's going to be utopia. They don't realise that, yeah, communism will make everybody equally poor. It will make everybody destitute, and it won't be a good life. Just go and ask the people in North Korea, go and ask the people in China, go and ask the people in Cuba about how they feel about living under communism. Most people risk their lives to leave it. Look at West Germany when the Berlin Wall was up. People were trying to risk their lives to jump over the Berlin Wall and were getting shot because they were fleeing the communist regime. Look at Cuba. People, like 30 or 40 people at a time will get on homemade rafts, risking drowning, shark attack, to get to Florida in America to flee the Cuban communist regime. Does that sound like a utopia to you? If it's so much of a utopia, why are people so keen to leave it? That's because the state has total control. You think you're going to be sat around doing nothing all day, writing poems and writing music. No, you're not. If the state's going to designate where you go, the state is going to say, right, you're going to go to this coal mine. You're going to do a 16-hour shift down a coal mine. That's your lot in life. That's your place in life. You're a cog. We're going to put you. This is your position in the machine. You don't get to choose anything, because communism, like National Socialism, is authoritarian. You have no individual rights. The state comes first, and you're irrelevant. You're just a cog in a machine that can be replaced. You've just got no identity. You have no rights. And these people think it's going to be an absolute utopia for them. They're just deluded, absolutely deluded with everything. Anyway, such a gorgeous morning again. Just love getting out on these walks. It's amazing. It does wonders for your mind and your mental health, just getting out and just doing this. And you know, I look around here, but yeah, absolutely no evidence of me being a fascist or a Nazi. It's just a smear on their part. Look at that, gorgeous around here. Birds singing, it's awesome, it's amazing. Right guys, I'm going to leave it there. I shall see you in the next video.